You are watching Teresa Dreamer.
Hi everyone, this is Teresa Dreamer coming to you with one video, and in today's video I just want to talk about mindset development. It's crucial for us to start thinking about our mindset and where we're going in life, especially in the Black community. We need to be thinking about our goals. It's almost the end of 2025. Soon we will be in 2026. Don't wait until 2026 to start to set goals for yourself that you can achieve. And the video is entitled about the law of attraction because it is really the law of attraction, but it's really foundational principles that are found in the Bible as well that help us to put our mind on the things that we want to accomplish in life so we can accomplish those things. And we have to stay consistently thinking about those things. So the first thing I want to talk about is focusing on your goals. You have to focus on your goals. You have to know what you want. And that starts with writing it down. So you should be writing quarterly goals. Quarterly goals are goals that you set every 3 months. So it's 4 times a year. You write them from January to December. So you break it up in four times per year with 3 months at a time. And you should be writing down what you want to accomplish, what you want to get accomplished, what you want to complete, where you want to be by the end of those 3 months. And you should post it in your room. You should post your goals in your room. You can also make a long list of goals talking about where you want to be in, 5 years. You can also post that in your room. But it's important to post these things where we can see it because subconsciously it just does something to us when we pass by. Sometimes we glance at it, sometimes we don't. I'll tell you a story. Back in the day when I was in Harlem, I posted goals on my wall and I didn't really pay attention to it. I maybe read it a couple times here and there passing by, but I look back and I accomplished everything off of my list except for one thing. And to me, that's really amazing. So when you post these goals on the wall, it just does something to you. And you just, I don't know, it's just like the law of attraction kind of thing. It just automatically starts clicking and you start making this progress. So you want to post your goals. You want to write it down. You want to be able to write out what you want to accomplish and, how it's going to make you feel. That's a journaling exercise, writing about getting deeper into it. Like, for instance, I want to accomplish getting to a healthier body weight or growing my hair or something like that. Write how it's going to make you feel when you do accomplish that thing. And read it here and there. It's a nice journaling exercise to just journal about the things that we want in life and how good it's going to feel and what we'll be doing so we can envision that picture in our mind. That leads to the second principle that I wanted to talk about, which is visualization. Sometimes you just need to sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and picture it in your mind. How will you look? What will you be wearing? Where will you be going? Will you be driving? Will you be taking a plane? Will you have a husband? Will you have children? What will you be doing for your career? You want to envision all of those things. And we need to write and visualize these things in all areas of our life: career, finances, health, physical appearance, skincare, hair care, nail care, everything. We need to be thinking about how we want to be in the future. We may not be that way right now in this present moment, but that does not mean that we can't get to that point in the future if we consistently think about it. We have to always be thinking about it. Like, we have to be in the moment of life. So, of course, we're not always, if you're having a conversation with somebody or if you're at work or you're doing something, you can't always focus on those things. But whenever you have downtime, it's of the utmost importance that you put it in your mind of what you want to achieve. Another thing that I want to talk about with the law of attraction and attracting the goodness that God has for us. Because in the Bible it says in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, it says, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. And God told us to think about these things because it attracts these things toward us. It helps us to elevate ourselves from maybe a depressed place, maybe a sad place, maybe an angry place. When you start to think about the good things that you want, you just start moving, like you're going to get it, and you know that you're going to get it. Another thing that you have to do is work consistently on achieving those things. So when you set your goals, when you write out your goals, you want to take the steps to achieve them. If you have to break it down into smaller steps, you do that. So if you want to grow your hair a certain length, I'm just going to use that as an example. You're going to say, okay, I want my hair to be down my back. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take hair vitamins? Are you going to use hair oil? Are you going to do low manipulation styles? Break it down into actionable steps. Another thing, if you want to lose weight, you're gonna think about, for me, that's one of the things that I'm going through, although I do need to also go through a medication change, which is putting some weight on me. So that's a little bit out of my control, but I have took the steps, like talking to my doctor about other medications that I could use to, not put the weight on me, as well as doing daily exercise. I started getting up in the morning and doing an hour and a half of basically exercise every morning and trying to eat healthy to keep my weight down. So that's just a example of breaking it down into actionable steps. One of the steps was talking to my doctor. The other step is doing the exercise. The other step is eating a little bit less. You can't just say that you want a goal and you don't break it down into the steps that you need to take. That's for anything, for financial goals. You may start with, okay, I want to save $20 to $50 a month. If that's all you can save, that's all you can save. If you can save more, save more. It's never a bad thing to save money. You never know when you might need it in an emergency. And once you save enough money and you have enough money to meet your monthly bills and all of the things that you need to meet each month, you can then start to invest it, and you can invest it perhaps in a CD, the stock market, real estate, things like that, to continue to grow your money. So another thing that I want to talk about is you have to surround yourself with positive people. You can't be, I heard a saying one time that if you're the smartest one in the group, it's time for you to find another group. And as much as sometimes we don't want to leave familiar people and familiar places, even if we don't leave them completely, distance yourself for a period of time so you can get to the next level. Sometimes you may have to take a step back. Sometimes you may have to take time for yourself. Sometimes you may have to align yourself with other people. And wanting to align yourself with other people, sometimes it causes us to change. And we don't change to be around other people. That's just an outcome of what happens when we do change. We change to have a better life for us. For instance, I grew up in Harlem, New York, right? I grew up, my block, my immediate neighborhood, it wasn't a bad neighborhood. Back in the day when I was younger, it was a drug area about a block away from me. That's my neighborhood. It was a drug area. However, it did get better and improve, and I didn't think it was dangerous growing up. We had some instances of crime, but I felt safe in my neighborhood. However, growing up in Harlem, period, meant it was certain mindsets of myself as well as the people that I was around that was to my detriment, that weren't healthy for me, that I had to break out. I could go on for days telling you about, hours and hours telling you about the experiences that I had in Harlem, and I'll leave that for another video. However, some of the things that I have had to change about myself, for instance, I had to change the fact that I smoke weed. I used to smoke weed every day, sometimes multiple times a day, right? And I had to change that. Some people may not think that weed is a problem. Number one is draining your money. If you want to reach financial success and financial abundance, and you want to be able to take trips, go where you want to go, buy that car, fill up your tank with gas, maybe get a new outfit, do some, have the hair products that you need for your hair, get your skincare, get your beauty products, do things that you want to do, invest in your education. You need to have the finances. And when you have an addiction, when you have a drug addiction or alcohol addiction, even a cigarette addiction, because I had a cigarette addiction too, and I am now about 1 week free of smoking cigarettes. So I'll talk about the weed addiction. With the weed addiction, number one, it wasn't good for my mental health. So that's that. Number two, it took away from me financially. It was times where I'm looking for loose change and I'm looking for, spending the last money that I had to go get marijuana. So some people don't see it as such an addiction, but for me, it was. It was something that I did since I was the age of 12 years old. I'm now 35 years old. I quit when I quit 2 years and 8 months ago, so 35, 34, 34, 33. So I was 33 years old when I quit smoking marijuana. From 12 years old to 33 years old, that's a long time. And it took a lot. I had to go to outpatient treatment. I didn't go in physically. I did it through Zoom. I was court ordered because of a situation. But it turned out to be the best thing because I actually recommended it to the court, and they took my suggestion and agreed to release me, and to have me, instead of doing 2 years in prison, to do a program and to get sober from marijuana through going to treatment. And that was one of the best things that I could have did for myself. Not only did my mental health improve dramatically, I started saving money. Now I know that I have more money to spend. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to be thinking about the dispensary. Am I going to make it there in time? Is there a dispensary near me? I used to be one of those people that would walk by smoking weed, like anywhere I went. If I wanted to smoke, I'm going to smoke. I'm going to roll up and smoke in public and everything. And that's trashy. That's not attractive. That's not the woman that I wanted to be. And it took a while for me to realize that, because growing up, that's what I did. And that's what my friends did. And I still love my friends who are still in their addiction, but that's what we did. That's how we bonded. That's one of the things that we did to bond. That's one of the things that we did because we came from similar environments. Some of our home lives weren't the most perfect household lives, and we were all trying to heal our pain and bond with each other. And that's one of the things that we did. So growing up in Harlem, I had to stop that. Now, stopping that allows me to now put myself around better people, because when you're smoking, you're getting involved with people who are also smoking. And I have to tell you the truth. A lot of people that smoke weed, some are able to function and do well. But how many successful people that make a lot of money, people that really keep their appearance up, how many of those people do you know that smoke marijuana and are able to really, really be successful? And there's levels to success. Some people are able to do it. I haven't really met a lot of people. Once in a blue, I meet somebody that's able to have it all together and still smoke weed. More often than not, I don't. More often than not, I'm finding people, that I was smoking with, we're in poverty. We're living in poverty. We don't have all of our needs met. Sometimes we're not working, or we're not working in the way that we need to work. Sometimes we're not focused on our educational goals. So it's just like, I wanted to elevate from that lifestyle for myself. And then doing that, I have started to connect again with professionals. When I had my own business when I was back in Harlem, I was also connecting with professionals and moving up in the world. But then my mental health got in the way. My mental health and then my addiction. And that's when my addiction started impacting my mental health. Around, when I was around maybe like the age of 19, 20, that's when it started affecting my mental health. So I had to make a change for my life. So that's just one of the changes that I made in terms of aligning myself with people. Another thing I had to do, I stopped smoking cigarettes. Because if I'm out with somebody who doesn't smoke, somebody who's working a corporate job, who is feeding into me. I have met a person recently who worked a corporate job. She works a corporate job. Now, I'm more in the creative fields and in the investment kind of fields. So my roles are a little bit different from hers. She works a corporate job. She works for, a private company, in, America. I can't even, I want to say it a certain way, but I'm not going to say it a certain way because I want to make my videos inclusive to everybody, although I do aim my content at the Black community. So, it was nice to be able to connect with her without having to think like, oh girl, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. Like for me in my life, I had to start thinking of the woman that I wanted to be. I don't want to be a trashy woman. Like I can't go anywhere without smoking a cigarette. At first I started just smoking at home, but then it's like, if I really care about myself, I care about my health, I care about my teeth, I care about my lungs, I care about myself. I don't want to smoke and you can end up sick in the future, from smoking, you know, and I'm an only child. I hope to be married, but it's not like I have so much family that can really assist me if something were to happen. I have to be there for myself. So I cannot be sick because of something that I'm inflicted on myself. I cannot allow myself to get mentally sick, physically sick. I can't allow that to happen. I don't want my teeth to decay. It's so much that goes on when we have certain destructive habits. But just leaving those destructive habits alone have allowed me to align with more people who are doing well. And those people who are doing well, most of the time, about 90% of the time, I find they do not use drugs. They have a regular job, working. I just put myself in some networking events, and I was able to be around people who are really taking their careers seriously. And that's what you have to align yourself with the law of attraction. You have to align yourself with people who take their career seriously, people who take their finance seriously, people who take their health seriously. And no, we're not perfect people. I'm not saying that the people you have to be around are perfect, but maybe one person has this one aspect that you like, another person has another aspect. And you have to continue to surround yourself by people who can uplift you. If somebody's weighing you down, I don't care who it is, you have to cut them off. It could be for a period of time, or it could be for the long term. You can still pray for that person. You can always keep that person in prayer, but you can't surround yourself. If you want to be truly successful, you cannot surround yourself by people who are going to bring you down, people who are always negative. You didn't do anything to them and they're responding to you negatively. People who always have something bad to say. If you don't want to cut yourself off from these people, at least limit the contact that you have. If you go around somebody and after you're around them, you just feel drained, or you just feel like you didn't enjoy yourself, why are you around them? Stop putting yourself in those positions. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So when we start to put ourselves in better positions, opportunities start to come to us, especially financial decisions. Because when you start meeting people who are already making more money than you, who maybe are living better than you, they can put in your mind ways that you can live better and things that you can do to better yourself, to either reach their level or even surpass their level, or at the very least get to the next level in your life. Another thing that I want to talk about on the law of attraction journey is investing in yourself. Yes, you should invest in your appearance. You should invest in your appearance, but appearances are not everything. The most important thing is your heart, your relationship with God, and your mind. If your mind is powerful, you can do everything else. The mind will create ways to get everything else, believe me. So you have to start to develop your mind. Now you can develop your mind in multiple ways. You can read books. So for your free time, you should be reading books. You should be on YouTube researching whatever niche that you are interested in. Research it. For me, it's fashion, it's content creation, it's beauty sometimes, it's hair, it's investing, real estate investing. So these things are things that I actively pursue. Mindset development. I pursue mindset development books. The last book, I'm trying to think what the name of it was. I can't call it. But I just like to read Mind Development. You Are a Badass. That book was good. That's a good book that you should read. You can get at your library. You can order it from Amazon. That's a good book to read about mindset development and just positive law of attraction stuff. You have to think about these things all the time. So whatever you want to achieve, you have to start to study it. Now, there's multiple ways you can study. You can read a book about it. You can go on YouTube. Yes, that's great. But you can get a fast track when you enroll in education. You can learn the way to do things on YouTube. You can learn the way to do things from a book. But there's nothing like real life experience through working or internships and school, whether it be trade school, college, whatever it is, trade school or college, just taking a course, continuing education. those are the ways that we can really fast track our knowledge and really learn what we need to learn. And in those environments of college, trade school is a little more lenient because you learn how to do the thing that you're looking to do. But even with that, with any type of education, you always have to go into it with your objectives in mind. Like, not your teacher's objectives, not your professor's objectives, not what the school wants you to do. You have to think, am I getting out of this what I want to get out? If I'm not, how can I get that stuff, what I want to achieve, out of my education? For instance, I was in school last about 2 semesters ago, and I was doing a course for textiles, which is about fabrics, and it was certain times where it was like one time where I didn't complete the homework. I had other things going on in my life and I could not complete the homework. And it's like, okay, this is going to bring down my grade a little bit. I still ended up getting a B+, but it did bring down my grade a little bit, but I couldn't think. And then I did a project, and the project wasn't, it was a project that we had to complete in order to get our final grade, in order to pass. I did something that spoke to me, but I also did something that was basic. It wasn't something that I went and did because it was a creativity project where I had to make something. So it was like I didn't make something that was, it was a beautiful piece. It was a textile that I had to create. It was a beautiful piece. It was a lace overlay of some fabric, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to me. It was beautiful to the people that saw my project, thought it was beautiful, but it wasn't as creative it didn't take as long as some other people in the class that did their projects. And my teacher said something about it. My professor was like, I wish you could have put in a little bit more effort. Well, you can wish all you want to. I still got that B+, and I still went on to the next level. That's what I cared about. Passing the class, getting the knowledge of how to use textiles, not getting all A's so I could be a teacher's pet. That's not what I'm 35 going to college. I'm not in it to be the teacher's pet. I'm in it to get what I need to get and go to the next level and use that to bring it back to my career objectives so I can be that successful business person that I want to be. So in class, you have to do what you need to do. Basically, at the very least, do what you need to do to pass the class to get to the next one. And on top of that, do what you need to do to learn the industry that you're working in for where you want to go. Because just because you're in a certain niche, it's like within that niche, there's a subgenre. And it's like, okay, what do you want to do? Like, for instance, I'm just going to use myself because I can't think of another example. For fashion, what do I want to make? I want to make gowns, dresses, skirts, and tops, right? Mostly gowns and dresses. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm not really going to focus on, designing streetwear. I want to make upscale clothes, including blazers and stuff like that as well, suits. But I'm not going to focus on streetwear. I'm not going to focus, like, some of the skills, I'm still going to get those skills in school if I'm taught those skills. But I'm not going to say, like, oh, I have to be doing so great in that area. Focus on the areas that you want to achieve. Whenever you're going to school, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to focus on what you want to get out of your education. And I think that everybody, especially the Black community, this is 2025. They're cutting food stamp benefits to some people, saying what you can and can't get on food stamps. Section 8 is getting cuts. Nothing is really staying the same, and nothing is really going to be, I think in the future, it's going to be even more things that are going to be like a detriment or something bad for us. So we have to find ways. Now is the time. In 2 years, you could graduate from community college and get a decent paying job and go on for your 4-year degree, work for yourself with the knowledge that you have, or just, those are the options. Get a job and continue your education, get a job and stay there, or work for yourself. But that can be accomplished within 2 years. And then you have to also think, okay, if I have other responsibilities, if you have kids, if you have a life outside of work, if you have other goals that you're trying to achieve, if you have 2 jobs, if you have, sometimes mental health conditions, if you have certain things that are in your life that you need to prioritize along with school, sometimes it may take you longer to get that degree, and that's okay. Don't let people tell you what your education is supposed to be. For instance, if you want to, like for me, I'm taking a degree that in January I'll be going back to the community college for fashion design. It's a 2-year program. It's going to take me, I'm estimating to take me 3 years to finish the program. 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. I'm taking like 2 classes sometimes, 2 classes a semester. Sometimes I may take 3. I may do a summer or winter course here and there, but I am not about to stress myself out. Life is about more than stressing yourself out. You can always reach that next level as long as you keep it in your mind and you pray to God. You will always be able to reach the next level. Sometimes we have to focus on other things like philanthropy, giving back, doing community service. Talking to the people we have in our lives, keeping communication open with the people that we have in our lives so we can encourage them and we can have those good relationships with our family and friends. That's also important to me. I have a lot of other things going on besides just school. So I have to prioritize all these things, and as we all do. But school is a very important tool. And with all of the things that you can learn in school, anything that you want to be, you can go to school for. And you can get that education. Education on paper will get you a good paying job. It will get you in doors where you couldn't get in yourself. A good education or being a part of a school can also lead to get you an internship. Sometimes even if you don't have the education, you can get an internship, but internships are valuable ways to immediately, school is one thing. Going to school is a great thing, but that's book knowledge. You need to know how it really works. And some schools will give you that how it really works kind of education where you'll understand, but you're never going to know everything about the industry until you're on the job or you're working for yourself and you come across that challenge, that problem, that issue. So when you're doing an internship, it allows you to basically, you're doing it for free. Sometimes you may be getting paid a stipend or something small, but you're doing it and you're learning. You're working under somebody who has more experience than you. They own their own company most likely, or you're working for a business and you're understanding, okay, I learned this in school, but this is how I can talk to the customer. This is how I can talk to the client. This is what the client needs. This is, you make those connections and those things can help you in your own business. Because a lot of us, we need to transition from this worker mentality into building businesses for ourselves. Open your LLC. Invest in the business that you want to invest in. Get some stock. We have to start to do these things for ourselves because we cannot, I don't want to live working for somebody else for the rest of my life. I don't do that well when I work for somebody else. If I need to raise capital, if I need money, I will go to work for somebody else. For periods of times, I will do internships. I will work for free if I have to doing an internship to gain the knowledge, but it's only for a short period of time. And then I have to take my skills and develop it for myself. And with everything that we can do, I've talked about education. Courses are another way for you to gain knowledge. Now, I am on Instagram. My Instagram is Teresa Eldrema. And if you are not following me, if you have not subscribed to me, it's TreasaAldrema. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on add me on Facebook. They're all different platforms where I kind of post different content on each platform. But getting back to the point, Instagram has so many free courses. And if you want to go a step further, you can pay to have a course or to even work one-on-one with the person. I've never worked one-on-one with anybody, but for instance, I took Spectacular School of Businesses course. That was a great course. I wasn't able to commit to it for the time, all the times that I wanted to, but that was a great course, and I do plan on doing that in the future. I've taken courses on real estate. I've taken courses on love. I've taken courses on finance. I've taken courses on how to save my taxes. For free. You can go in these workshops. It pops up on my Instagram and it's oh, we're having this workshop. Click the link below. And I click the link and I fill out my information and I am in that class and I am taking notes because I'm one of those people, you give me a little bit, I can do the other research, I can put 2 and 2 together and I can figure it out. I don't need to take a $1 million class or $1 million mentorship to get what I need to get. So that's another thing that you can do. Take advantage of these free courses that they're offering. Another thing that you can do if you want to own your own business is score.org, SCORE.org. They have a program where you can be matched to somebody in your industry and you can get industry advice on whatever it is that you want to do for your business. whether it's real estate, whether it's construction, whether it's a financial company, whatever you want to do, there's somebody they had a cosmetologist that I was talking to, and I was thinking about owning a salon. They had somebody that I could speak to about that salon business who previously had a salon and was giving me advice. So you can find people in your niche, in your industry, and you can learn from them. They also have webinars where you can go for free. Some are paid, some are free, where you can study on your own time. Study. I'm telling you, now is the time. It's 2025. It's August 2025. January 2026 is going to be here before we know it. And I am not trying to be the same come January 2026. I don't know about you, but I want to elevate myself. There's some goals I need to check off my list. There's some things that I need to get accomplished before the end of the year, and I need to start in the new year getting more things accomplished. We have to think about how to move ourselves forward. It's not the time to sit back and be high all the time, be drunk, be going out to the club, spending money. It's time to stack your money. When you're in your 20s, when you're in your teens, you're in your 20s, you want to go, at least for me, I want to go out, I wanted to dance, I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I remember, my first car, I thought it was so great, to have a car. I just felt so excited. Now I have another car, and it's just like, okay, I'm used to it. Like, I have a car. Like, I'm just saying that to say, like, I've grown up. I've grown up. I'm 35. I have realized that, like, I am the person in charge of my ship. I'm the person in charge of my destiny. And it's just like with the car situation, it's just like, okay, now I have a mode of transportation. Yes, I'm grateful to God about it. Yes, I'm glad to have a car, but it's not like, yeah, I got a car and I'm styling. That's how I feel in my 20s about little things like clothes and, hair, when I was wearing weaves and, just different things like that. It just make me feel totally different. Now it's like, okay, I want to have a family. That's what my goal is. And I think, like, women and men, I think we should be getting back to those elements of, like, the Black family. Like, or just a family for other people who are watching, but the Black family, we need to get back to that element of, like, 2-parent households, married, raising children, making money, working, maybe the wife is staying home. I do want to work from home. I still want to work. I would like to be a housewife, but I would like to do, like, part-time work in my own business to make money. So that's my goal. So I'm not playing around, because not everybody's able to live like that. Sometimes two people have to go to work. My mom, she went and got her master's degree while she had me, because my father, he was going through his trials and tribulations with depression, and he wasn't there for us. At most of my life, he wasn't there. He was in and out of my life. And I love him so much, but that's just the reality of the facts. She had to go back to school, get her master's degree. Then she started working as a teacher, and she's working constantly. So that meant that she couldn't spend that quality time talking to me about the things of being a woman, about the things of, what I needed to be doing in my life and guiding me. It was like I was really finding myself by myself and with my peers, with my family, that is like people who are my friends and my regular family, but a lot of my family I consider people who are my close friends, So I had to grow up a lot of things on my own. I did have help. I did have, she was there for me, but more so financially than, like, emotionally or, and it's give and take with everybody. Some people's story, some people come from a big family. They may not have money, but they have family. So it's always something that we can want or say that we didn't get, but it's up to us to turn that situation around. So knowing that my mom didn't get to spend the time that she wanted to spend with me, or that she didn't get to have those talks with me because she was constantly working, or she, when she wasn't working, she's trying to, spend some time to just get herself in the right mindset, because she's a single mother, without any government benefits, without any help or anything. So I know I don't want to be that person. I know that it's important to me to nurture my relationships not only with family and friends, but I want to nurture my relationship with my husband. I enjoy cooking. Not only does cooking help me to, eat healthier, You know, although I may have some weight on me, I do not have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, you know, no health problems at all. And I want to keep it like that. I like to cook my food. Sometimes I do eat out, but I really have started really not eating out that much at all. You know, and unfortunately, sometimes if I am eating out, it's because I'm stressed, which I'm trying to change. But, you know, I want to cook for my family. And when you have a family, who has the money in this economy to be eating out with a big family? And I want a big family. Even if they don't all come from my body, I want to have kids physically if God, you know, wants that for me. And I also want to foster care to adopt children. So I have to think about how will I support that family. That's what breaking down your goals can help you see. Okay, I realize I could want all these things, but until I align myself with being that person that can handle those things, it's probably not going to come to me. So I had to do a lot of development work for myself. I'm getting back into cooking. I'm getting, you know, I grew up in a cluttered environment. I keep my apartment very clean, you know? And that's another thing. It's just so many things that are like, especially in the Black community, that are meant to keep us down, and just the mindsets, and just like when we don't have both parents in the home, you know, like my mom didn't really, she cooked when my father was there. We were a family, we used to eat at the dinner table, but when she's working, it's a lot of fast food, you know, it's a lot of stuff, and I had to unlearn a lot of behaviors, and that's what we have to do. Maybe you grew up in a household where people weren't kind to you. Maybe you have to unlearn those behaviors of feeling nervous or feeling endangered, or, you know, that's leading me to my next point. While we have to begin to change the narrative of who we are and where we're going in life and what we've been through. And one of those things that can also help you with that, and it does lead back to the law of attraction as well, is therapy. Now, I go to therapy. I was in therapy once a week. Now I'm in therapy once, like every 3 weeks. And I'm finding that the every 3 weeks, it kind of works better for me. Right now, my schedule's a little bit more hectic, number one. Number two, you know, it gives me time to think for myself again. Because, like, in therapy, I was going once a week, and I'm, like, always telling her, you know, what's going on. It's like, you know, I want to kind of be more private, so it allows me to be more private. But going to therapy, whether it's once a week, twice a week, once a month, whatever it is, see it as life coaching. If you could get life coaching covered on your insurance, even if you have to pay out of pocket, it's worth it sometimes. If you have a big to-do list, if you have kids, if you have a job, if you're working 2 jobs, if you're working for yourself, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to, you know, do certain things in your life, and you want to be a healthier person mentally, you know, and with all your goals combined, you could use talking to somebody who's level-headed. Now, I need a person of color to talk to me. I can't really do therapy with people of other races, so I'm glad that I have a Black therapist, you know. But you know, therapy and support groups are important, where we can call, if you need to call a number 988 or the warm line, and vent to somebody. Whatever you have to do to keep going, that you don't self-destruct or hurt somebody else, that's what you need to be doing. So for me, I go to therapy every 3 weeks. You know, I go to therapy. I also go to, sometimes I drop in a group therapy. Just because, like, if I have the time, I'll go to a group therapy session just to let out my stress, so I don't have to carry around anger, anxiety, you know, certain things that I don't want to deal with that. And then that could lead me to, you know, smoking weed again. You know, certain things, we have to unlearn these behaviors and get to a place where we can handle life on life's terms. Handle life on life's terms soberly. I still may indulge in a drink here and there, but drinking was never a problem for me. You know, so it's just like, we have to do everything that we can do to get to the next level. And I want you to get to the next level in life. The last thing I'm going to leave you with that you can do on this manifestation journey is pray. Pray to God about everything you want to do. God is the most important spirit person in your life. You know, he will turn a situation around. And what I've learned over my 35 years with God is that God is not going to do everything that you want him to do. 1, 2, 3. Some things he won't even do for you, because he'll allow you to do them. For instance, my music career. I think I did pray before about, you know, being a successful music artist. I was being a successful music artist at one point. I was rising up in status and things like that. But God took me out of that place and brought me to a more, healthier lifestyle for me, overall, spiritually, mentally, everything, emotionally, just a better lifestyle and a better way of living. And, if I went that way, I probably would have been miserable. So sometimes God will allow, I had the taste of it though. So God did give me the taste. It's like, he says to, I'm trying to think of the verse. It's like, it's not cast all your burdens on him, all your anxieties on him. That's one thing. Cast all your anxieties on God because he cares for you. So it's like, give all your anxieties to him. But I'm trying to think of how to say it, but I guess I'm just going to come out and say, the thing is like, God will direct your path. And sometimes it doesn't seem like he's directing your path because you're going to go through some trials and tribulations. But at the end of that trial and tribulation, you're going to come out better than you were before. You're going to come out on top doing much better than you were before if you trust God. Sometimes when you don't know what you're going through, you don't know how it's going to end, you're just going through something, you need a way out, you have to pray. Put it in God's hands. Talk to him like you're talking to your best friend. Tell him about everything in your life, whatever you're going through. You can say it quietly in your mind. I pray quietly. I really don't speak that much out loud when I talk to God, except when I'm in church. But other than that, I pray in my mind. But I communicate with God a lot, sometimes throughout the day. But I do communicate with God every single day. I thank him. And it says when you are praying to come to his courts, open to his courts with thanksgiving. So you're supposed to thank him for the things that you do have before you start praying for the things that you want. Sometimes we can't always say thank you, God, because we need something so bad. So we just start praying for what we need. And that's okay too. But you should also be thanking God for what you do have. You woke up this morning. You have clothes on your back. You have soap. You have hot running water. You have food in your fridge. You have a place to live. Maybe you don't have a place to live, but you have a bed for the night. Maybe, you've overcome abuse. Maybe you've overcome addiction. You have to thank God for the things that you have so you can have more. So that's the tips that I wanted to give you today for using manifestation. I hope it makes a difference in your life. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything that you would like to see me make a video about, I post content about Black culture, fashion, beauty, and my life. So that's the motivational content. That's the scope of what I want to post, what I'm going to post about. I'm getting a new camera, and I'm going to make more videos to further show people what I think I would want to know, what would help me. That's all I can do. Like, yes, I like to be monetized on YouTube, as a lot of people do, but that's not the goal. That's not the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I really want to enlighten people about things that have helped me. I do want to be a motivational speaker one day, in addition to all the other things that I want to accomplish. And, I just feel like we need this uplifting in our communities. We need content that is going to show us how to get to the next level. So I'll be making videos about finance, videos about health, videos, all types of videos. So if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment, tell me how you feel, tell me if this video helped you, tell me what you're going through. I do return messages, I will write you back, and thank you so much. Okay, God bless you, have a good day.